say you found a skeleton. How would you tell it's a dinosaur? You personally, how would you decide?
Well, interesting question. I don't know. I'd have to do some research on that.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Matt with Maddie. I almost said Dapper Reacts. That's the wrong show, but this is Matt with
That's
Maddie.
the wrong show. This is Matt with Maddie.
Yes.
Yay!
Yes. Although, I mean, so Dapper Reacts, while typically it's me and Vishanti, or me and Vishanti and Kip, technically there's no official, like, set co-host for that. It's literally just the show that I do on Saturdays, and whenever I need to do it on any other day. And, like, you could be on a Dapper Reacts. Like, there's no rule.
I could be on a Dapper Reacts if I ever had a free Saturday.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't even have to be a Saturday, right? Like, if somehow,
That's
like,
true.
I don't know, Kent with Ben had to be canceled, and I was like, oh no, I need a Dapper Reacts host. We could just do a Dapper Reacts with Maddie if you were
We
around.
could, but if it was me, you would call it Matt with Maddie, unless I could do a show with you that wasn't a Matt.
Exactly, it wouldn't be Matt.
Oh, that sounds like heaven, but
Yeah.
you would find a new way to torture me.
Well, obviously, I mean, that is kind of the thing about the channel, right? I bring on guests and co-hosts in order to torment them.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the whole purpose.
Yeah, so, yeah, this is actually, like, secretly, I've been telling everyone I'm a dinosaur. I'm actually one of the Dark Eldar, and this is how I keep my soul refreshed, is by exposing my guests and co-hosts to the mental anguish of dealing with the stupidest nonsense that is possible to imagine.
The stupidest nonsense.
I found my next video to respond to. It's Roger.
Roger.
From Mod Fossil University. He's going to tell us how your immune system is actually made of bacteria that shoot ribosomes into your interstitium, which then go on to build enzyme proteins, which are themselves ATP, and that's how you fight off invasive bacteria.
Yeah.
And, like, wow, every single bit of that is just horribly, horribly wrong. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that is the secret here. So
That's upsetting.
It really is. But hey, we are here for, in this case, we're doing Raw Matt. Now, this, in case you guys aren't...
No, this is Matt Powell, isn't it?
No, this is Raw Matt.
This is Ramat? Oh.
Yeah.
The voice sounded like a Powell.
It's possible he's bass boosting himself in this video.
Okay, let's do it.
I mean, to be fair, when I record videos, my, like, recorded videos, I both boost the high and the low end to give my voice, like, seemingly more range, which I don't do when I'm live. So, like, I'm not going to knock someone for, like, you know, bass boosting their voice or whatever if they think it makes them sound better. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
YouTubers do that. Audio people in general just do that. If you're recording your voice, chances are what's going on to the final recording is not whatever your voice sounds like raw. So, like, I'm not going to knock Matt for bass boosting his voice if that's what he's doing. Because you know what? It gives it a richer sound, right?
It does.
So, it's fine. But Raw Matt, this video is the reason why he has more subscribers than me, despite the fact that most of his videos cannot break 600 views after a week. Right. Which would be weird for a channel that has 30,000 subscribers, except that virtually all of them come from this video, because this video has well over 1 million views.
Okay.
This one got shared around on, like, Christian Facebook or something. I don't actually know if it was specifically Facebook, but it made the rounds in, like, Christian social media.
Probably Facebook.
Yeah, given how old this is and the demographic that tends to be on Facebook, and also amenable to this kind of video presentation. There's a lot of overlap in the Venn diagram of, like, who this video would be attracted to. So, first, hey, congrats, Matt. You know, it's not easy to make a video go viral, and you did it at least this one time.
You did it.
So, like, good job. But also, this is what happens when you have one viral hit and then nothing else, is that you get a channel that has a lot of subscribers that no one watches.
Yeah.
So, like, you know. But yeah, there is a lot of music, but so far we haven't been hit with any, like, copyright problems as a result. So I'm just not worried about it. I did think I had lost this, because this video was originally on my old computer. And then when it migrated over, I forgot which folder on my old computer it was in, because my old computer's files are mostly just, they've been backed up into, like, cloned folders on a different drive. because I didn't keep all of the files. Like, I don't care about my old like Windows install files from my old PC, so I'm not backing those up. So yeah, I spent a good 20 minutes thinking like maybe I have to re-download this video.
Oh man.
Yeah, thankfully it didn't happen, and so we're here with Matt. Got a couple super chats here. Evil Ginger Miniatures for £5 says awake and here for even more psychic damage. Well, thank you very much. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says, what thickness of tinfoil is required to block psychic damage? Asking for a friend. So it depends on the strength of the psychic damage. So for instance, if you're just going up against like Vicious Mockery, then a couple layers is probably going to be fine. But if you're going up against like a Mind Blast from Mind Flayer, you might want to have 5 or 6 layers. And if it's raw mat, you might just want to encase yourself in an entire lead coffin.
Yeah, lead. You need lead.
Tin is probably not going to.
The 10th thickness for 10, right? For psychic damage.
Yeah, man, that was a very nuke thing to say, by the way.
I know it was.
Yeah,
but it's you and me. Of course, I'm going to make a nuke joke.
No, I get it. I'm not complaining.
I made a new nuke vet friend, but like in person.
You did not.
Yeah. I met him through improv.
Nice.
And I'm trying to get him to join the all veterans improv troupe I'm in. Because it's super fun. But I was like, listen, I live in a landlocked state. We don't have a lot of Navy vets around here.
Nebraska is triple landlocked.
What does that mean?
So if you're landlocked, means that you don't have any outlets to the sea. But if you're double landlocked, it means that all of the things that surround you are also landlocked.
Oh.
But if you're Nebraska, then all of the things that surround you are double landlocked.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, any Europeans in the chat, you don't get how big it is.
No. It's always funny to me when people are like in the UK and they're like, oh man, I have to drive across the country. I'm like, oh wow. So like 3 hours? Like, yeah, it's such a long drive. I'm like, oh, okay, sure. That's cool.
Okay.
Yeah. Driving across the state is like a 4-hour drive.
More here. I can drive 7 hours and still be in Oklahoma.
My favorite thing was going from Phoenix to, basically Albuquerque. I wasn't actually going to Albuquerque, but I was going like just south of Albuquerque.
Okay. Yeah.
I would get on the highway, and it would just like stay on the highway for 400 miles. And I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, just get on the highway in 3 hours, turn right. Like okay.
Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $2 says, how many meters of lead? Oh, it's not gonna be that bad, right? Because it's lead.
Yeah, lead has a really low 10th thickness. It's like really good.
Yeah, so like a few inches is probably gonna be fine.
Yeah,
or like
that'll do it.
Like 5 or 6 centimeters if you're doing the whole metric thing, which I do. In fact, MC2 made fun of me for using the metric system when measuring a camel spider. Well, estimating the measurements of a camel spider, because I didn't have it in front of me.
I think it's probably about 1 camel spider big.
Well, yeah, but it turns out camel spiders vary significantly in their size. Kind of like regular spiders.
Yeah.
All right, so we're delaying, and I can tell, and that's okay. But we're going to stop delaying. We're going to go with the drinking rules, because we have a drinking game here. Also, I feel like I might be sounding funny, and if I am, let me know. That would be my fault. I will try to fix that during times when Matt is talking.
Okay.
So, we will take a drink. So first of all, before we get into the drinking game, proper rules, I want to say, if you decide to play along, you are absolutely not obligated to play along with any kind of intoxicating substance at all. If you want to play with coffee or tea or water or juice or soda or whatever else, that's fine. This is just for fun. No one's enforcing any rules at all except me with the drink counter. And even then, sometimes I'll break my own rules with the drink counter anyway, because again, it's just for fun.
It's just for fun.
Yeah, there are no forfeits. There are no prizes. It's literally just a fun thing to do. And I happen to have some lemonade with rum in it because I was too lazy to make anything else.
I've got a beer. I've got my Bearded Theologian, my favorite Matt with Maddie drink.
Nice. All right. So that being said, if you do decide to drink or do any other kind of intoxicating substance along with us, please do so responsibly. Pace yourself. Know your limits. Don't afterwards go out and operate heavy machinery, drive a car, fly an airplane, text your ex. Don't do any of that stuff.
Don't do any of that. Hey, can I try to name all the drinking rules from memory?
Absolutely.
Okay, so 1, we're going to drink anytime we hear Godzilla or Mothra come by audibly. Audibly.
Yes. Audibly,
yes. Audibly. 2, if anyone super chats or membership milestone chats using one of the kaiju emojis, kaiju is the word I was looking for there, we will drink for that. If anyone gifts memberships, then we will drink 1 drink for each gifted membership until that becomes stupid, and we would just finish our drink and move forward, unless that would make us dead. Okay. If if Dapper makes a production mistake, we will drink for Dapper as a professional. Okay, and then we'll drink for Trojan source, which is anytime something is cited and we check the source and the source not only doesn't support the claim, but it actively refutes it. That's a good one. There's also the one, I forget the name of it. Oh no, but it's the one where Lucy, if they mistake Lucy for her entire species or genus or other larger category, we will drink for that, but we'll only do that once because ad hominid attack. Okay, the ad hominid. We'll drink for ad hominid. We don't do that once because if they do it once, then they tend to do it a bunch of times, and we don't want to die. Okay, then we'll drink anytime Maramat says something so stupid we just absolutely have to. We drink anytime Matt. If either of us can accurately predict what he's going to say next. We'll also drink if Ramat starts talking about a particular political party that became rose to power in Germany in the 30s and is potentially rising to power in the US right now, we'll drink for that if we veer off into that. And that also includes, this is more of a Matt Powell thing, that also includes if we suddenly veer and start talking about school pew-pews.
It is mostly a Matt Powell. Also, for Matt Powell, if we just whiplash into transphobia when we're not talking about anything to do with trans folks at all, and then just boom, transphobia happens for no reason. Well, I mean, the reason is obviously bigotry, but if there's nothing that leads into it, we take a drink for that too. Yeah,
there's that. We'll drink for jokes that didn't land and for stories that didn't happen. So if you said something that's homeboy, that's a conversation you had with your shampoo bottle. That's not a thing that happened in real life. We will drink for that. I don't think jokes that don't land will work here because this isn't a live presentation. Yeah, but it's still one of the rules.
It's still a rule.
It's still a rule. And if he says something that's correct, that comes out of his own brain and isn't just quoting someone, is that one? Or is that one we get to later?
No, that's one. There's no set order. There's the order I usually go in, but we're already off of that order, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, I had to do the meta ones first. Is that all of them?
No, you're missing one, which is that if anyone super chat membership chats anything to do with AIG being a bag of dicks, we will take a drink for that too.
You should drink for that. Also, I'm seeing some trans flags in the chat, and so trans rights, man.
Yep.
I found it.
It took a little bit.
My mouth wanted to say trans pride, and I'm like, well, if you're trans, please be proud of that. But that's not the phrase. The phrase is trans rights.
Right. Hey, look, it took you a lot less time to get to trans rights than it's taken the United States to go from maybe we should stop cutting out trans people from everything to starting to implement legal protections to then scaling them all back.
Do you want to know something that really pisses me off trans rights right now?
I mean, I could think of 5 things off the top of my head, so I don't know which one of them it is.
There's a lot, but there's a lot of things about the treatment of human beings right now that it causes me an immense amount of emotional damage. But there was one that hit me particularly hard, and it was it looks like trans veterans are being kicked off of the benefits that they earned.
Which, depending on how old they are, in most cases, they probably earned before ever coming out or transitioning.
Yeah.
So it's not even
exactly. So imagine you did your 20 years and then lived your life, right? And came out as trans and did whatever. And now you can't get your like retirement pay and health benefits that you earned. So that makes me super angry.
Yeah,
I'm smiling, but I'm a woman in the West, and the wider I smile, the more uncomfortable I am.
We've kind of gone from a few years ago where I was like, hey, trans people should be allowed to exist publicly, and that's okay, to just like, hey, they should be allowed to exist at all, even in private.
Yeah.
And it's an amount of backsliding that I'm not okay with, but I also don't have the power beyond advocacy to change that. So, like, I don't know. Yeah. Hey, guys, find out who your representatives and senators are and give them a call if you're in the U.S. And if you're not, I don't know, maybe contact whatever your local representatives are and ask them what kinds of pressure are being placed on the United States as a result of its flagrant human rights abuse.
Do that.
Yeah. I don't know.
Because there's a lot of flagrant human rights abuses.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And not just for trans people, but also especially for trans people. And
so now what we're going to do, and we're going to move into our very fun stream where we drink together and hang out with our friends. We're going to do the thing in every Star Trek episode where the ship, like, took massive damage. And the captain's going to say, I need someone to turn off those alarms, right? Because we're aware that the world is on fire. We're fully aware. Mm-hmm. But for the next 2 hours, what we're going to do is turn off those alarms, right?
Yep.
And have some camaraderie and, like, be here with the knowledge that all of that bad stuff is happening. But for right this minute, we're just going to put up some shields.
Yep.
And be here. All right, so shields up, everybody. Turn the alarms off. We can get back to that. And not actively listening to the alarms doesn't mean we're not dealing with it.
That's true.
Okay.
In fact,
turning off the alarms helps us deal with the problem.
Yeah, the first step to every alarm response that I ever had to deal with in the Navy was first silence the alarm.
Yes.
The alarm is not something that should be going off constantly.
Yeah. So, cheers to everybody. I'm super glad you're here with us. I'm glad you're here.
Me too. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says, I'm not confident that Sushi Matt possesses the cognitive capacity to distinguish between a shampoo bottle and a sentient being. He might not. That's a good point. Oh, by the way, we do have a super chat goal. So, one is if we get it complete, then we will be unleashed and there will no longer be any limits on cursing, which there are currently. It's slight limits. Also, there might be new TTRPG projects coming for me and Maddie that maybe we'll give a little bit of a hint to. We can't do major
I've got
spoilers.
Some exciting things.
Yeah. So, if you want to hear about that, get us to that 30 super chats. All right, remember, only the teal ones count. Here we go. Here's Matt.
Leaving behind.
Oh, wait. He was just telling us about successive tsunamis after the plate tectonics goes into overdrive without ever addressing things like the heat problem. And now
the heat problem, or that would leave a very specific geologic signal that we don't see.
Right, exactly. Like, we absolutely know that, like, none of that is real. Like, this is not a thing that happened. Yeah. So, and Ron is off Stag, I think, says, this timeline blows, but I love Dapper Dinosaur and company with some horns and a smiley heart and a bunch of hearts on fire and a top hat and a dinosaur. Right. Thank you very much.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. All right.
What we see today in the fossil record.
Okay, so what he's doing here is showing you different cratonic sequences and showing you the typical fauna associated with them. And he is saying that this is a result of organisms living at different altitudes, but the problem is that that's just fundamentally not true. Because you know how if you look at the index fossils, you just get a bunch of marine fossils pretty much the whole way? There are very few terrestrial index fossils. And the reason for this is actually not that hard to understand, right? Index fossils ideally should have a more or less global distribution. And that's a lot easier to do if you're marine than if you're terrestrial. Because if you're terrestrial, you tend to get stuck on whatever landmass you're on. Now, in the time of, like, Pangea, that's not that bad, which is why we have some index fossils that are actually vertebrates, which is almost unheard of. Cool. So, like, some Dinosaur scutes actually count as index fossils for parts of the Triassic.
And the other important thing is that when we see debris and the bodies of dead animals deposited from tsunamis, we don't see like, oh, okay, here was the marine animals, and then here were the land animals, right?
Everything just
we
gets
actually
washed out
see them all mixed up,
right?
In
fact, tsunamis will pick up ocean organisms and then also drag terrestrial organisms back so that you just get a jumble. In fact, actually, well, first we have a membership chat. Dutch Tunicate official who's been a member for 15 months and is at the tetrapod level says, "You're not drunk enough for this with the Godzilla," which means, yeah, we will take our first official drink. Yep. Thank you very much.
Cheers. Thank you, team.
So, we actually have a tsunami deposit that's probably was caused by the Chicxulub impact at the Tanis site in, I believe it's in North Dakota or Montana, but, like,
okay,
someone double check me on that because, like, I'm not remembering very well off the top of my head. But one of the reasons that it's thought to be a tsunami deposit is that in addition to being a very obviously high in energy catastrophic deposit, it's also full of marine, freshwater, and terrestrial organisms, including things like marine clams, sharks, dinosaurs, freshwater fish, like, you know, like gars and things like that, right? Because they had gars at the end of Cretaceous. Spoiler alert. And the reason we think that it's actually from the Chicxulub impact is because it's right below the KT boundary. And also, there are tiny microspherules of what looked like glass that have been embedded into the bodies of the organisms at the Tanis site. So in addition to getting hit by a tsunami, they also got shotgun blast by ejected debris.
Wow.
Yeah,
people don't understand how energetic impact events like that are, right? It's enough to the impactor, so the asteroid, right? It doesn't melt, right? It's completely vaporized and is able to vaporize about another mass of itself, right?
Yeah.
So you have all of, and then still liquefy more rock, right? Which is how you get the crater shape, because the rock temporarily liquefies and then quickly solidifies, right?
It's also why craters are round at a very wide range of impact angles. It's because this explosion in the atmosphere that's causing this, not like something slamming into the ground and making a furrow.
Right, no, it's not that. It's something's coming in and it hits, and the impactor vaporizes, and it vaporizes more. So yeah, it's not, you can, if you have a super, super, super oblique angle, right, you can get it, but it has to be very oblique. You've got a pretty wide range of impact angles.
Which
and
has fooled some spaces fake nonsense types. They're like, why are all the angles on the moon circles? Are you telling me that all asteroids impact the moon at a 90-degree angle? It's like, no, we're just telling you that virtually all angles result in circular craters. But also, there are oblong craters on the moon. They're just very rare.
Yeah, they're very rare. I've looked at them. I mapped them. Yeah. That was my undergrad research project.
So, yeah, it's almost like scientists have thought about these things and actually have answers for all those questions that these pseudoscience grifters pretend they don't have answers for.
Yeah, can I just say, doing pseudoscience debunking I'm trying to write a real science proposal right now for some funding to do a postdoc on a project that I've been wanting to have the time to sit down and think about for like years now. And I feel weird trying to say, listen, most meteorologists think this, but I think this other thing, right? And I'm like, oh no, I sound like a conspiracy theorist. I sound bad. This isn't good.
The thing is, at a certain level of expertise in a field, you are the kind of person who can meaningfully engage with the consensus in a adversarial way without being a nut job, because you know the things that they actually have thought of versus the things they actually haven't, or maybe are open questions that might rock the boat a little bit. It's for me, it's the thing that has improved meteorology for the last 50 years, I think, is not going to be the thing that continues to improve meteorology for the next 50 years, right? Yeah. But there's some work that was sort of
put aside in the 70s and 80s that I think has the potential to be really powerful with like our modern tools. It was sort of, we had a thing where like our understanding was ahead of the technology to implement it. And then we started doing, oh, hey, we've got numerical weather models. Oh my gosh, we can get a faster computer, faster, better computers every year. And numerical weather modeling just shot off, right? And then like, hey, let's build a radar network. And all of those things are incredibly good that we did them. I just don't think that more denser observations and faster computers are going to get us the same types of returns in the future that they gave us in the past.
Returns.
Yeah, I think we're hitting diminishing returns, and maybe it's time to think about, rethink about some of the base math. Anyway.
See, that's a reasonable take there from someone who actually knows what she's talking about. I'm barely at the level where every once in a while, if I read a like vertebrate paleontology paper, I can be like, this conclusion seems off. And then if I ask actual other real vertebrate paleontologists about it, they're like, yeah, that's a pretty weak conclusion. Or sometimes they're like, yeah, I don't buy it either. And so like I'm just barely at that. And my favorite one was Oculidentavis, where I was just like, bro, that looks like a lizard. And then later on, the authors were like, we think it's actually a lizard, not a dinosaur. Sorry.
Oh, man.
And I was like, yes, I did it.
You did it.
Yeah, but if, like, you know, some random person off the street was to be like, I think this dinosaur paper is nonsense, and I think it's a lizard, their reasons aren't going to be good, right?
Yeah.
Like, they didn't say, like, I don't know, this dentition doesn't actually seem to exhibit any, like, you know, tooth sockets that are individual, or, like, I don't see any evidence of the separation between the superior and inferior temporal fenestrae. Like, they're not going to say that. They're just going to be like, I don't know, it looks like a lizard. Like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
That is very far lower than average man on the street in his knowledge of science, right? Matt would struggle to pass a 4th grade science class.
He sure would.
Which Maddie has offered to help educate you if you wanted. You should take it up.
It's a real offer to any of my mats.
Yeah, it's a little weird that there's more than one of them.
To my 2 mats. Listen, we have a 3rd mat, right? 3rd mat, least bad mat.
Is it Matt McLean?
But least bad Matt already has a PhD, and so
you're not gonna offer him any extra schooling.
No, you're good, dude. No, but for my mats, for my first 2 mats, guys, one. I'll really pay for you to take a rhetoric class. Like, I sure will. I'll sure help you with that communications class.
For raw mat, I don't know, like, maybe, like, whatever the Canadian version is of, like, remedial high school science.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, just basic thinking. Maybe?
Yeah. Thinking. Yeah.
Just basic,
again, like that's what I feel like. It's a genuine offer. It is a genuine offer. And I also feel like maybe they would be more likely to take it when they're like, listen, we're not talking about like science. I just want to help you present your ideas better, right? And think through your ideas a little bit more. So that's like communications, rhetoric, logic, that kind of stuff from any accredited university.
We have a few super chats. Lieutenant Math the Navigator for $5 says, Douglas Adams once postulated an ecosystem compatible with this hypothesis. It consisted of a single sperm whale and a bowl of petunias. Yes, I do remember that particular ecosystem. That was a fun one. And remember, the sperm whale inexplicably thought, oh no, not again.
Yes.
Mayan finished... Oh no, wait, it was the petunias that thought that. The sperm whale had a whole inner monologue about, like, oh, what's that big round thing below me?
And the petunias were just, oh no.
Not again.
Yeah.
Although, I'm gonna be honest, in my internal thing, the sperm and whale went onto different lines, and I was like, oh no, is this gonna just be a whole thing about sperm?
Oh no!
Yeah, that would have been weird.
That would have been super weird.
For $6.66 says, Hail Nero, Daps, and Maddie, and hail Daps and Maddie lurching left and right in this imitation of Star Trek TOS style ship shaking effects till Larmoth. Oh no! Roshna, who's been a member for 23 months, says ram pressure is a hell of a thing, and it sure is. Yeah. It's the main source also of heat on re-entry for spacecraft, is the ram pressure. It's a big deal. Petite Flower 5259 for $5 says, here's to turning off alarms and making fun of bad science for a couple of hours with the Godzilla, and we will take a second drink. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
George, very long name, says, you there, Dinosaur. Yes, you. Here's my opinion on this cutting-edge paper. Honestly, I would actually like it if people actually did do that, because then at least it would show that they care enough to read the papers. So at least at least that would be a thing, right? Metageeky Platypus Librarian for $5 says, given current things, maybe saying current science is wrong is a good way to attract funding. You know what? That's actually probably not the worst point. Yeah. At Raw Matt is full of... Oh, sorry.
I'm rewriting it to not talk about climate. Putting a real big emphasis on forecasting. Operation.
I hate that you have to do that.
Isn't it gross? I hate it.
It's really gross.
It's really gross.
Maybe if you put stuff in about like how if the climate were to cool off suddenly and we were to enter a new ice age.
Yeah. No, this is okay because like the good folks of the National Science Foundation don't want to screen for those words, right?
They just have to.
They just have to, right? They want to give out funding to let people do science, right, in critical areas.
It's almost like that's what they're there for.
Almost like that's their whole purpose.
Sorry.
So I'm trying to phrase it in a way that they don't have to reject.
Hey guys, don't watch this show. If you're at the National, what was it?
Science Foundation.
There you go. Couldn't remember. Sorry. Yeah, don't watch this show. This show doesn't exist for you.
No, it sure doesn't. This isn't me in my professional capacity. This is a hobby.
Yeah. So Benekiki continues, and raw mat is full of maggots like AIG is a bag of. I'll take a drink.
Cheers.
But that reminds me. I saw a Lost World Museum, who's mostly active on, I think, TikTok and Facebook. Mm-hmm. And they were like, look at this fossil of a large maggot-like organism. How big of a fly would this have produced? And it's like, okay, first of all, I don't know that that's a maggot. I don't know what this is a fossil of. I don't know where it was found. I don't know what it's preserved in. You're not showing it in enough resolution for me to make out much details besides segmentation. Second, insect larvae that big just exist. In fact, bigger insect larvae exist right now. Yeah. I mean, look, I live in a place that has like 6-inch long beetles, and those larvae are gigantic.
Yeah.
They're just underground most of the time, so I don't see them.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm gonna dig up around the dirt around like any of the nearby like Palo Verde trees, I would probably find several of those larvae depending on time of year. Not right now, most likely, because most of them have molted into their imago form, because it is in fact coming up on like monsoon breeding season for the Palo Verde beetles. But like, if I were to check in the winter, yeah, there would be massive maggots right there.
Yeah.
Mine Finished Sock for $2 says, don't communicate badly, like and share instead. Agreed. And then the Zerolon for $5, bringing us almost a third of the way to completing the milestone there, or the Geological, there it is. Says, make sure not to mix sperm whale and whale sperm. Yes, those are things not to mix up. AIG is a container for organs that deliver one of those things.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
These types of tsunamis have even occurred in recent history, such as the tsunami caused by slipping ocean plates that hit the coast of Washington in 1700 and left behind multiple layers representing each wave of the tsunami.
Matt, how do you know that they're tsunami layers? Because I'm pretty sure you didn't go to Washington to check. So, you know what my idea as to how he knows that these are tsunami layers are?
Mm-hmm.
He probably found that out because that's what geologists say about them.
Yeah.
Which means he will trust geologists when they say yes, tsunami. But that also implies their ability to say no, tsunami, with at least as much reliability.
Yeah.
Which he does not accept, because he also seems to think that all the layers below that, or a lot of the layers below that, are also tsunami layers, even though the geologists don't agree with him on that. So,
yeah.
What is it, Matt? Do we trust the geologists when they say tsunami or not?
Right, yeah.
Like, you gotta pick one, man. If you're gonna rely on the expertise of geologists to identify tsunami layers, then you gotta rely on the expertise of geologists who identify tsunami layers. And you know what that means for your flood is all tsunami rocks idea? It means it's wrong. And look, you can say, oh, that's an appeal to authority. Well, are you going to tell me that you went out there and examined this yourself and didn't rely on the authority of geologists? And here's the other thing, right? While appeal to authority is a formal logical fallacy in that it strictly under the rules of logic, it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how we are able to operate in day-to-day life. You don't use strict rules of logic for everything you do, right?
Right. We are not, in fact, Vulcans.
Right. Even the Vulcans don't actually use strict formal logic in all of the things that they do.
Yeah.
They accept expert opinion.
Yeah, that's the thing. So, like, it is true that someone being an expert does not make them infallible, right? I could tell you something about the weather, and I could be wrong, right? Maybe I misspoke. Maybe I am lying to you, right? Maybe I was misinformed. Maybe this is the genuine consensus understanding at the time, and later that develops into something else, right? So, like, just because I say something about a field in which I am an expert does not in and of itself mean that what I am saying is true. But if you can have confidence that, like, I'm an honest interlocutor, right? I'm not, you have some confidence that I'm not here to lie to you. I'm not very good at lying, so I can't do it.
That's what you would say, though, if you were really good at lying and you wanted to
really
convince us that you were bad. Yeah.
Whoa, you found me out.
Plus, I'm pretty sure you're not actually a Betazoid engineer in the 26th century or whatever. So I feel like you might actually be really good at lying. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah. But, like, it does make me more likely to be right. You can have more confidence, right, in my perspective about the thing in which I am an expert than a random person off the street. The same way I trust, right, that my car mechanic, right, knows more about what engine do than me, right? I have a good understanding of I understand how an internal combustion engine works, but hell if I could do something to a carburetor, right? Could take apart a carburetor, right?
I feel like most cars don't have carburetors anymore, so it probably won't come up.
I mean, probably. I don't know. Yeah.
He's just sitting there like, I think my car is out of carburetor, guys.
Listen, my car, my wonderful Mom-mobile minivan, prints out a little code on the screen when it's time for an oil change, and I go to the Honda dealership, and I say, this code, please. And they say, great, you've been coming here since you bought the car. We have a record of your maintenance. We're not going to overcharge you. And I was like, thank you.
Yep. All right, we have a couple super chats here. George McMarion, you'll snoozer Will, which sometimes I just shorten to George because it's a very hard to read name. For $4.99 says, I love when the free market makes it more profitable to lie, kill, and destroy than do the opposite. Frowny face, frowny face, frowny face. AIG is a bag of supply side economists. I would point out that the supply side is as little of a free market as would be just giant subsidies on like a communist level to just individual people. I do think one of those would be more helpful to all people involved than the other. But I do want to point out that the free market absolutists are also not a big fan of supply side economics because they feel like that's the government picking losers and winners and not the market, which it is. It is. Yeah. In fact, actually, supply side economics is closer to fascist economic policy than it is to laissez-faire capitalism. So, hey, it's even bad if you're a big free market absolutist. So, basically what I'm saying is it's bad all around. Everyone should hate it. Yeah.
It's bad. Hey, Dapper, deactivate that alarm.
Okay. I'm gonna drink, though.
That's good. Yeah, I'll take a drink too. In my brain, all alarms are big switches. I don't.
I mean, they're actually usually very small toggles, but okay.
Okay, let's try it again. Okay, we're gonna. Wait, there's my camera. Deactivate that alarm.
There you go. Actually, it's usually the other way, but whatever.
Deactivate that alarm.
There it is. You can tell I've spent more time at sea than Maddie.
Yeah, I've spent a grand total of like 2 weeks at sea.
I've spent well over a year.
And I spent a non-trivial amount of that time teaching the Chiefs mess how to count cards.
Perfect.
I made a lot of friends, and they let me do cool shit.
Hey, I mean, if you were teaching me how to gamble better, I would probably let you do all sorts of cool shit.
Yeah, I did that like first night, and then...
Hey guys, check this out.
Hey guys, check this out. And then like, the rest of the time I'm on the submarine, the Chiefs mess keep like... It's like, oh man, we're gonna go do something cool over here. You should sit right there. And I'm like, great, thank you, Chief. Please enjoy this hard candy I packed.
Bribing the Chiefs with candy.
I did bribe the Chiefs with candy.
Hey,
and card counting skill.
If it works, it works. This
was on a submarine. They're desperate for hard candy.
Oh yeah. Truth Sapphire, Truth Light True for $5 says Maddie and I are rainbow jar cart twins. By the way, I heard a rumor that AIG are an awful attaché of abysmally appalling aubergines. I'll take a drink.
Nice.
Thank you.
That is some good alliteration. I love my rainbow cart. I've had it forever.
All right. Rayla Gatubella for $5 says most Vulcans like real facts, not feelings people kind of suck. Spock was guided by a deep sense of morality and didn't represent Vulcan's side. To be fair, most Vulcans actually share a pretty similar sense of morality that Spock did, and have as saying where they're like the value of sapient life as like a really high value and fairness and whatnot. And also, one of the things about Vulcan society is like they all have all those emotions. They're just try not to base their decisions or their actions on them, and instead kind of repress that whole thing. And so, like, it's not like the Vulcans don't have. They do have emotions. They're just trying not to act on them.
Listen, I wish more people could do like most of the vocal IRL facts not feelings folks are actually very much being guided by their emotions and their feelings, and that hypocrisy drives me nuts, right? I'm so sorry. Toggle that off. Okay.
You do realize that the guy we're responding to is almost certainly a fascist, right?
Oh no.
Like Rombat.
Oh.
Like
yes, Rombat. Yes.
If you put Rombat in like Germany in the late 1920s. He would be one of the first people to sign up for the National Socialist German Workers' Party.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Listen, okay, well then I'll go back on my rant. The facts not feelings people, right, drive me nuts, because they're all feelings, no facts, right? Because if the facts contradict their feelings, right, then they just ignore them. And I'm like, but the facts, but I don't like those facts. I make up my own facts, and that's not how work. Those are not facts, those are feelings, and you're doing it wrong. And the whole situation of the world, right, makes me feel like the crazy person because I feel like I put forward like it's like no, the thing that you're doing is incorrect because of these specific things, right? And then they turn around and go like, "Nuh-uh, you," and I'm like, no, that's what you do.
Yeah.
No, but you. And then they're like, see, now we're having a no but you. Who can say which side is right? It's like, no, I'm still right.
Yeah. Like, for example, if maybe DC were in the middle of a 30-year low in crime, and then suddenly it was under a crime wave that was completely unevidenced in any way at all.
Yeah.
Which justified more or less an invasion by multiple states' militias.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the facts just don't matter there. Anyway.
Recent seismic technology actually allows us to investigate whether this type of rapid subduction occurred.
Ooh.
Sure enough, these scans reveal a ring of unexpectedly cold rock at the bottom of the mantle.
Okay, he's doing cold slabs.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the problem with this, right?
Okay. I'm not super familiar with this yet point.
So it's a fairly obscure one, and it doesn't come up a lot. Baumgartner likes to talk about it, but he doesn't do a whole lot of public-facing stuff, so I don't usually respond to him directly. I usually respond to people talking about his ideas. Which, I mean, look, you don't have to be all that public-facing. It's fine, whatever.
Yeah.
I get it. Not everyone wants to be in whatever spotlight exists. So, like, I'm not knocking him for not being very public-facing. I'll knock him for a lot of other things, but, so, first of all, what's on screen is not the cold slabs. But what is actually happening?
Do you know what's on screen then?
Yeah, these are basically different anomalies in the structure of Earth's like upper mantle and outer core.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's not technically what's on screen. At least it's not.
Okay,
From what
so
I
this is saying that these are regions that are like the both the core and the mantle should be fairly like well mixed, heterogeneous.
You would think
and
so.
These are regions that are like identifiable as different from the rest.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it actually turns out that the outer core and the mantle are way blobbier than you might expect.
Oh, okay, that makes sense though, especially for the mantle for convection purposes.
Yeah,
but that would be very blobby.
The actual thing with cold slabs. So these are slabs of rock that are indeed under the continental crust of basically around the Pacific, right? The Ring of Fire, if you will. And these are primarily composed of what used to be parts of mostly the Pacific Plate, right? Because the Pacific Plate is subducting basically everywhere that it exists.
Yes.
Around the margins, at least.
Yeah.
And so what makes them quote-unquote cold is that they are, in fact, a few hundred degrees colder than the mantle that surrounds them. But the problem is that when you run the numbers, and the important number here is the thermal diffusivity of the rocks, you find out that in order for those rocks to reach thermal equilibrium, it should take tens of millions of years. And since the subduction is ongoing, and has been for tens of millions of years, we should have cold slabs if the standard dating of the world is correct. And in fact,
and also that's bringing down water, which is going to do all kinds of crazy stuff.
And also, the slabs are too hot for them to have all been arrived in the mantle just a few thousand years ago. So when we say cold slabs, it's a very relative term. If you were to touch one of these cold slabs, you would be severely scorched. It wouldn't be a fun time. You would burn your pizza if you tried to put them in an oven composed of these cold slabs.
Excellent. Okay.
But yes, they are colder than surrounding rock, and no, not by any amount that is interesting. Now, the reason Baumgartner talks about it is because he liked to add a few extra orders of magnitude onto the value for the thermal diffusivity of the rocks of the Earth's crust, because that's what allowed him to get runaway plate tectonics in the first place.
Oh no!
Yeah,
Team. For those of you that don't know, thermal diffusivity is that's a material property.
Yeah, you can't just multiply it by 100 for no reason.
Right. That's like if you have pure carbon has a specific thermal diffusivity that is pretty darn constant. I cannot say off of the top of my dome if it has absolutely no dependence on temperature and pressure. Right.
Most things have some dependence on those two, so it's probably somewhere in there.
But if it does, it's mild, right? Anyway, but yeah, that's a material property.
Roshan 499 has looked this up and says the image on screen are believed to be the remnants of Theia. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Ooh, that's super cool.
That's the protoplanet that would have smashed into the proto-Earth to produce the moon.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
That's really cool.
Also, we're almost at the halfway point on that super chat goal.
Amazing.
We could get to do a little bit of preview about TTRPG stuff coming up.
Well,
yeah. So
okay, let's keep going then.
Yeah, that's Baumgartner is just
okay.
What if thermal diffusivity was 100 to 1,000 times greater? Then yeah, sure, you would in fact get runaway plate tectonics, Baumgartner. I agree. But if we're just gonna make up nonsense about physics that we can't actually change, then I guess anything is possible, and you don't have any science anymore.
What if the miracle was that God changed the thermal diffusivity? Weird miracle, but okay.
Yeah. Certainly not scientific, because we don't know of a mechanism for that, but sure, I guess.
Beneath the subduction zones. And while the evidence shows that this rapid subduction occurred, critics still have a problem.
Does the evidence show that, Matt, or did you just assert that?
Can you please go back to the image and can you just scooch it back like just a breath? Because I want to see the rocks.
Unexpectedly cold rock at the bottom of the mantle, beneath the subduction zones.
It's not at the bottom of the mantle, but sure, whatever.
Sure. Okay, pause. This image, do you think, because you see that in A, you see the CC dotted lines and it kind of looks like they're going down, do you think he thinks that's a rock subducting?
I don't know what he thinks this is. That's the problem.
Okay.
Right?
I have no idea why he thinks this supports what he's talking about on screen.
Yeah, and part of the problem is that the resolution is so low that I can't tell what we're looking at. I don't know what BFR stands for off the top of my head. I don't know what CC stands for. I mean, the fact that it says an injection makes me think that what we're looking at is some intrusive igneous rocks.
Yeah.
But, other than that kind of feeling based on the word injection, because, that's how intrusive rocks work. They kind of inject themselves into older rock as liquid magma, and then they cool down over a very long time.
Because turns out different rocks have different melting points because they're made up of different stuff, so they can mix in cool ways.
One of the ways you can tell that they cool slower is actually they have larger average crystal sizes within the rock, because the slower the cooling is, the more time the various chemicals have time to make themselves into nice, neat crystal lattices, and those crystal lattices have to grow uninterrupted. Whereas things that cool very quickly can have very small crystals, or sometimes can even be amorphous, like when you get volcanic glass where there is no crystal structure. Or if you dump an otter pop in liquid nitrogen, where you get amorphous ice, and then after you let it warm up a little bit so it won't kill people, it's delicious.
Nice.
Yeah, I definitely had some otter pops made in liquid nitrogen in the liquid oxygen bay on the aircraft carrier.
Amazing.
Yeah, we had like a friends and family cruise. And
fun.
Yeah, they were making some of those, and I was like, "Hey, can I get one of those?" And they're like, "Yeah,
can I get one?
Here you go."
It's like, I know they're for the children, but can I have some? Listen, again, I brought a sea bag full of hard candy onto a submarine.
They were giving them out to anyone who asked. They didn't care. They were just making otter pops in liquid nitrogen and showing off liquid oxygen in a bath of liquid nitrogen, because it turns out that the boiling point for liquid nitrogen is significantly lower than the boiling point for liquid oxygen, which means if you put a little cup of liquid oxygen in liquid nitrogen, so the liquid nitrogen surrounds that cup, until all liquid nitrogen is gone, the liquid oxygen will stay stable.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So, anyway, we got a few super chats here. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5, putting us one away from the halfway point, says, if I assume that lead is lighter than air, I can get my Led Zeppelin up in the air. That's true, yeah. Just assume that lead has a different density. Who cares?
Yeah.
Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $2 says BFR Big Fucking Rock. Yeah, I don't think that's what it is, but maybe. We're going with the Doom version of what B and F stand for.
Yeah.
I did every once in a while in a Doom game, they tried to like say, or other Doom fiction, they were like, no, that's not what it stands for. It doesn't stand for Big F and Gun. Yes, it does.
It does.
It does.
That really there's a Ronald Dahl book that's the Big Friendly Giant.
Yes.
And it's abbreviated to BFG, and I can't. That's not friendly. That's not what that F stands for. I'm so sorry. I know it's a children's book. It's delightful and whimsical.
But you were also in the Navy.
I can't.
Mm-hmm.
While the evidence shows that this rapid subduction occurred, critics still have a problem with the heat generated from this.
Yeah, Matt, we do. Because it's enough to vaporize the damn planet, Matt. Why would you not have a problem with that?
And again, there's no evidence that rapid subduction occurred. Deborah, I thought you put the Picard face up there as a joke.
Nope, that's Matt.
Oh my gosh, I'm taking a drink for the dumb.
That's fair. Matt. Look. If I told you that I had a great new herbal supplement, and my technique for making it, and I gave you this big long list of all these cool verbs, like, I don't know, echinacea or something. I don't know what herbs he's taken. Willow bark.
Listen, it's all natural. It's organic. It's going to boost your vibrations.
Oh yeah, you gotta get all the vibrations.
Help ground you. It's a whole food vitamin. I can come up with more buzzwords if I think.
But then my preparation technique is, first, I grind all of that up in a mortar and pestle. Then I shove it into a gel cap. Then I toss it into a fusion reactor that is heating up that little capsule to like 20,000 Celsius. Do you feel like maybe there would be a problem with my preparation mechanism, Matt? Probably yes. You'd probably be like, hey, that's just going to turn into a pile of dust. If that. You know what? It's not going to turn into a pile of dust. It's going to be turned into plasma. Is what it's going to be turned into. And when your solution to the flood narrative not just melts the ocean many times over, not just melts the crust, but vaporizes the crust and ionizes a whole lot of it. Yeah, we might have a problem with that, Matt. It makes your idea physically impossible.
Yeah. So, like, what you said is that there's evidence of recent subduction. Yes, there's active subduction, right? And there's evidence of active subduction. Again, what you showed isn't that, right? But all of the evidence that we have suggests a relatively steady rate of subduction, right? And so those cold slabs, there's nothing to suggest that those are a couple thousand or a few thousand years old, right? Like,
Rana K has apparently looked up BFR and it's black fault rocks that have undergone deformation due to heat in a fault zone. Thank you very much, Rana K.
Thank you.
Yeah. Rail got developed for $2 says, you tell me BBC isn't British Broadcasting Company? Look, I don't care what you find when you look up BBC online. That's up to you. It can be whatever you want it to be. It can be the British Broadcasting Company, or it can be big other things. You know, that's fine. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $2 says he's going to make the Picard very angry. I mean, yeah, Picard would hate this.
Picard would hate this man.
So let's answer this now. What I believe they just don't understand.
Yes, Matt, why don't you tell us what geologists don't understand? You, the man who doesn't know really what geology even is at this point, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Is that while subduction is occurring quickly, heat from this friction is being produced. Yep. They consider this the heat problem.
Yeah, Matt, we do. So what's the thing you don't think we understand?
Yep.
However, what they don't realize is that because the icy hail that brought on this ice age and
I don't know that we established that, but okay, sure, icy hail.
Hey, guess what? Oh my gosh.
Maddie,
icy hail. Hail doesn't. Hail.
Maddie,
hail is a warmer cloud process. You have to have warm air, right? Like specifically above freezing, and you have to have part of the cloud be above freezing. To get hail. So please explain to me how hail can cause an ice age. Because, like, guess where you don't get hail? The Arctic.
Also, I feel like there wouldn't be any air that's cold enough if the crust of the Earth is being vaporized.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's still true. That's real true.
Who's been a member for 37 months and is at the Tetchpod level says, AIG is a bag of big other things. Yes, they are. We'll take a drink. Thank you very much.
I'm taking a drink.
I'm going to take another drink for, like, yeah, but what if hail cooled off the planet as it's reaching thousands of degrees Celsius?
So, okay, let me break down a little bit of why that's so nonsensical and broke my brain. Why does hail form? Great question. I'm glad you asked. Hail forms when you have so one of the things you need for hail to form is a cloud where the top of the cloud is below freezing, but the bottom of the cloud is above freezing. Okay? And then you need incredibly strong updrafts. You need the winds lifting air up. It's fundamentally just the like force of this wind moving up that will hold the hail aloft, right? So to get big hail, you need really strong vertical winds to keep it in the air. And what happens is that the hail is, so you have like an ice, let's say we're starting the top of the cloud and you have a little ice core, right? Well, then that falls down to the warmer part of the cloud where the outer edges of the ice start to melt, right? And then they move back up. Then we have that updraft column that kicks it back up. Then that refreezes. So it's picked up more liquid water as it goes up, and then that freezes. It gets heavier, it falls down, and it repeats this cycle until it's too heavy for the winds to keep it up. So, so the thermodynamic process that's happening here, right? The freezing part, right? That's happening, is just because if you go up high enough, the air gets cold, right? That's it. It's not you don't need cold air. In fact, at the surface you need incredibly warm air, right? And so then this ice that is formed is going to fall out. And so to get an ice age, right? To get an ice age, we need to go from not ice age to ice age. We need a net in the way that he's describing, right? What you need is a net transport of energy out, right? We need more energy leaving the planet than what is coming in to cool off.
And
right?
Also, hail returns that energy to the planet.
Yes,
which
that's the thing.
Help.
So all of this, yeah, exactly. So all of this freezing, all of these thermodynamic processes occurring with hail stays inside the troposphere, right? So all of these energetic processes stay on planet Earth, right? So there's no exchange of energy with space, right? Which is what you need. Now, the real way we get ice ages is that we get net less incoming solar radiation because of changes to Earth's orbit that happen periodically, right? So, so for a planet to cool, right, you need net energy leaving the planet. And so if we're adding a ton of energy to the planet, which is what the heat problem does, right, then you still need a mechanism to remove that heat and then some to get an ice age, right? So this is why hurricanes don't work as a heat transfer mechanism, right? Because hurricanes, by and large, all of the energy of a hurricane all of the energy transport done by a hurricane, that energy remains inside the lowest level of Earth's atmosphere, inside the troposphere. If a hurricane sticks around long enough, it can have some increased albedo effect and have extra radiation reflected to space, but that's minimal. But that's the only way you can have like a cooling from a hurricane.
And guess what the heat source in this situation isn't? It's not solar radiation, so albedo isn't going to help a bit.
Exactly.
Albedo could
doesn't
be one. It could be every single photon that hits the Earth is bouncing right back off with the exact same energy. Wouldn't help one.
Doesn't help the heat problem.
We have a few things here. PhD Tony Original, not that newfangled new taste PhD Tony. This is PhD Classic. Says it's also important to distinguish between what creationists mean by rapid and what geologists mean by rapid, and they're two vastly different things. Yeah, they are. Yeah, for a geologist, rapid is like, oh, this only took like 2 million years. For a creationist, rapid is like, oh, that took like a year. It's like, oh, we have a. It reminds me of at one point I talked about planocrinids on one of these shows, and I was like, that wasn't that long ago. And what I meant was like 50 million years ago. And Maddie, you were like, that's a really long time for me. I was like, yeah, we operate at very different time scales, paleontology versus climatology and meteorology.
Yeah, meteorology is happening like, oh man, a long forecast is 2 weeks.
Right. Okay, we have a few super chats here. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says, maybe if we drop a giant comet on the plasma ball at orbital speeds, kinetic energy is just a social convention. Yeah, that's from Kent Hovind, who seems to think that the Ice Age started when a giant super cold comet smashed into Earth's north and south pole somehow. Because he doesn't know how thermodynamics and energy balances work. And he seems to think that cold is just negative energy rather than a relative lack of thermal energy.
Yeah.
All that an impactor can do is add energy to the system, and eventually all that's going to settle out as thermal energy. So any impact, no matter the temperature of the impactor, will make the planet hotter.
I feel like no young Earth creationist really grasps the concept that Earth touches space.
Yeah, or just that thermodynamics is a thing beyond their caricature of the second law.
Yeah, because like, listen, Earth and its atmosphere, right, are here, and you know what? They're not 0 Kelvin, right? Or 40 Kelvin, right?
Nope.
Which is the 40 Kelvin is the minimum temperature in our solar system because of ambient starlight. Okay. So Earth touches space. That's 40 Kelvin, right? So bringing in a new cold thing that's warmer than 40 Kelvin to touch Earth is it isn't gonna remove heat like you think it's going to, my friend.
Ken seems to think that it's magically at 0 Kelvin.
No.
Which still wouldn't help.
That wouldn't help. And like, it could be.
Well, so
right? Like, listen, 0 Kelvin, the actual number 0 Kelvin is not absolute 0.
But like, the thing is, the craziest thing is, okay, so if we set thermal energy to 0,
yeah,
we still have to calculate the potential energy of that thing out in space that's going to be falling to Earth. And that's going to be converted into kinetic energy as it falls to Earth. And then what? Where does that kinetic energy go?
In fact,
it goes to heating up the planet.
That amount of kinetic energy is so much, right? That when you do those calculations, right? Because I've done those for like planetary science class, right? When you do the calculations of what's the energy of accretion or whatever have you, you neglect the internal thermal properties because they're so minuscule.
Yeah. It doesn't matter if that comet is 0 Kelvin or like 5,000 Kelvin. It's not going to matter. The kinetic energy is going to swamp any reasonable temperature you could come up with.
Yeah.
Let's see. Metageek and Platypus Librarian for $5 says, maybe if you heat water super high enough, it wraps around to Bose-Einstein condensate. The simulation overruns its bits, and the Hirax-25 itself to cold. Yeah, it would be pretty great if temperature was just breaking reality, and then there was a bit reset, overruns.
Bit reset.
0. It's a fun glitch in a lot of computer games, where if you can go negative on your like how much in-game money you have, you go negative enough, sometimes it'll wrap back around to a very, very large positive value.
Nice. Yeah. That's how Gandhi is bad in Empires.
I've heard that actually that story might not be as true as I once thought it was. But it was Civilization.
Civilization,
also not super confident. So, Lieutenant Math Navigator for $5 says, I solved the heat problem. You just get the temperatures up to maximum values to cause an overflow error. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right? There you go.
If it's just a computer game. Also, we are now past the halfway point to getting that super chat goal. So please keep that up. And also remember, if you are interested, we are trying to get to enough memberships to unlock a new emoji so that we can add a Kip Davis emoji in the form of a Mudkip Davis.
Nice.
So...
global reduction of temperatures, freezing
literally impossible from your mechanism, Matt, but okay.
Literally impossible.
And reducing the ocean's temperature greatly. The heat generated would not be a problem whatsoever.
Matt.
No!
Matt.
No!
We're talking about petajoules. Petajoules of energy. You're not going to get rid of that with a hailstorm that doesn't even shed any extra energy to space, Matt.
Yeah, and let's forget it. Let's say an ice age occurred, right? An ice age occurred and the planet's cooling, right? Whatever. That is happening in this world. You still melt the granitic crust of the Earth, my friend.
Yeah, look, Matt's solution is kind of like... Okay, so I made a pizza earlier in the oven.
Yeah.
Right? And, you know, you make the pizza and it says, hey, wait 2 to 3 minutes. And that's so that, like, the pizza can come back. Okay.
Yeah.
Matt's solution is like putting a fan inside the oven that's drawing the hot air from one part of the oven and blowing it onto your pizza, and then thinking that if you turn that on 2 to 3 minutes before you take the pizza out, that'll cool it down. No, it won't. It's just blowing the same hot air on the pizza.
Yeah, and again, listen, globally, to get an ice age, we need about a 5-degree global temperature change from where we are right now, right? That's not petajoules of energy.
Right. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says, to be fair, it's not like his brain produces waste heat either. That's true. Matt's brain is too inactive to produce any significant amounts of waste heat. It's... man. Part of that, I honestly think that there's a fair chance that he has holes in his brain from all his time getting knocked around in MMA, while also being on, like, the world's least nutritious diet. Which sometimes, according to him, involved breatharianism, or just not eating. Pro tip.
It's a weird way to pronounce anorexia, but...
Yeah. Pro tip, don't get your head knocked around by fighters while you're not eating.
Yeah, don't do that. This sounds bad.
Generally, I would recommend getting your head knocked around overall, but, like, I know the limits
of my brain, thank you.
Yeah, it's well, I was thinking, I was going to say, I like my brain too. There are times I don't like my brain, and I wish it were different.
Listen, there's times I wish my brain would like quiet down.
Yeah.
But overall, I like my brain.
Yeah, same. Yeah. There are definitely times when it misbehaves. Charybdis Numbers, who's been a member for 50 months and is at the amniote level, says, do you hear someone like say this climate cycle and already know that just about to twist your words inside out to deny global warming? Yeah, that happens a lot.
Yeah.
But then Joshua East gives 5 Dapper Dinosaur memberships, which means we drink 5 times here, buddy.
Cheers.
5. Awesome. And then Prixie Purple, who's been a member for 18 months, is at the Tetrapod level, says, more drinks, less Matt, with 2 Mothra emojis. I don't know why I stumbled on that word.
Because of the rum, Dapper.
It is because of the rum. Which reminds me, if you are someone who is looking forward to us watching Godzilla movies after Power Rangers, we only have 2 more days of watching Power Rangers after today. Today, the plan is to watch Once and Always, and then the first 2 episodes of the final seasons of Power Ranger, Cosmic Fury, and then we just have 2 other days of watching 4 episodes of Cosmic Fury, and we're done with it. And then we can go on to the 1954 Gojira.
Amazing.
Yeah. Here we go.
The oceans would have absorbed this heat.
No, Matt. They'd be boiling, and that wouldn't help anyway.
It doesn't help.
It's still on the planet. And okay, to be fair, yes, they would absorb that energy as they boil and then have their atoms disassociate and then have the electrons on those atoms disassociate from the nuclei as they turn into hydrogen and oxygen plasma. So, yeah, I guess technically, yeah, they would absorb the water.
The energy, yeah, sure.
Oh, sorry, they would absorb the energy. In that sense, Matt. But you're trying to get people and animals protected on a wooden boat, Matt. It's kind of like saying, oh, this frog will be fine in the boiling water pot because the water will absorb the heat. So will the frog, Matt. So will the ark. So will the crust of the earth. So will the atmosphere.
Yeah, Earth isn't gone, but Earth is a liquid.
At best, Earth is a liquid. Most of it's a gas, and some of it's going to be a plasma.
Yeah.
I'm taking another drink for, like, the ocean will absorb the heat. Which, like, technically true, just not in the way he wants it to.
Here's another... Man, I need to do a class on order of magnitude thinking. That would be really good.
Alright, so we've got another super chat. This one is from Roshina for $4.99, who says, think Raw Matt has CTE? Oh, yeah, it's definitely possible.
What does CTE stand for?
It's cranial traumatic encephalopathy, I think, or something like that. It's basically what football players get when they get their heads bashed around too much.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, famously, that guy who, killed his entire family and then himself and then donated his brain to science, he had that, and he specifically put in his will that he wanted his brain to be studied to gain information about CTE. I don't know if that actually happened.
I think it did. I think there was a Will Smith movie about that.
Okay, well, I don't follow football very closely, but that was something that was significant enough that even I noticed.
Yeah. One of my, weird Navy experience, which was very I am not old enough to handle this. Picture me. How old was I?
20-something?
24, maybe? 24, maybe 25. In charge of 500 other junior officers. Wild. And one of my students, who is like a 22-year-old guy, right, comes in and was like, oh, hey, ma'am, I need to go over to medical. I was like, what's up? It's like, I can't see out of my left eye.
Oh.
And I'm like, I'm sorry, what?
That's bad.
That's bad. And he's like, yeah, I know, right? And then I get a call in the middle of the night. I think it was in the middle of the night. I might have not got called till the next morning. Because his roommates found him and he had passed out.
Oh no.
And he had played rugby and he had too many concussions and had permanent brain damage. And so we had to pull him out of class. And when I left, they were still, he had been on in a limb-do, not limb-do, but in a just a we can't medical hold. Yeah, and we can't separate you from the military with because I think he was Naval Academy and he had played rugby for the Naval Academy is I think what had happened. So you have like military caused injuries, right?
Yeah.
And we can't separate you, right, while those are ongoing, and because they weren't fully figured out. And so yeah, just about once every couple weeks he'd pop his head in my office and be like, all right, ma'am, I'm gonna go work for Chaps, but my roommate found me passed out again. It's fine. I called my doc. And I was like, okay. And I was like, I feel like I'm not qualified to be in charge of you.
I mean, that's probably why they had him working for the chaplain.
Yeah, hey. Yeah. I was careful who I had to go work for chaplain, because I made all those assignments for the officers.
Oh, okay. So Roshna continues on. Does malnutrition make CTE worse? I don't actually know. But I can't imagine it makes it
better.
Yeah, I was just about to say I can't imagine it makes it better.
Yeah.
I know lack of B12 can cause permanent nerve damage. So the one thing is I don't know the exact nutrients that raw Matt is getting. I just know that if all you're eating is one fruit at a time, changing it up once a month, no matter what fruit you're picking, you're getting a lack of something.
Yeah.
So yeah. But then again, raw Matt is certified in every single herbal system in the world. So I'm sure his supplements are taking care of all of that.
Yeah, Deborah, I think you missed a $2 chat from Goopdo3.
That's very possible. Oh, I did. Goopdo for $2. Sorry about that. Says the Gandhi story is an urban legend. See, that's also what I've heard. I've heard both things is the problem.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says grenades are made of steel. Therefore, the steel will contain the chemical energy of the explosive. Grenades are therefore harmless. Yep, that's how that works. That's raw Matt logic. Perfect. No notes. Yep. That's why grenades are famously never used in war. And are instead just given to children to help them celebrate holidays.
Yeah.
Easily. It would be like pouring liquid lava into your pool. It would do nothing to change the temperature of your pool.
Yep, but Matt, what if instead of just what looks like some molten aluminum, what if instead I poured
all of Hawaii?
Yeah, all of Hawaii melted down, and not just melted down, but like vaporized, and then I force-fed that into the pool.
Yeah.
Do you think that might increase the temperature? Though? Yeah.
But what if that?
Because, once again, orders of magnitude are a thing. The amount of heat we're talking about is many, many, many orders of magnitude more than you could produce in your home kiln melting aluminum in your backyard, Matt.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the entire crust of the Earth heating up, not your little brick of tin.
Yeah.
Taking another drink.
Yeah.
Look, man, you can quench molten tin in a pool. Mm-hmm. You sure can, Matt.
Yeah.
This is like flat earthers, right? They have no sense of scale of anything. They're like, well, if the solar system is moving through the galaxy, then why don't we see the starship from night to night? Because they're far away. The movement is insignificant compared to their angular distance or their angular size and separation.
You can see it with precise enough instrumentation.
Yeah, but that's all just NASA lies. They feed the information into your telescope. Now, you might object that my telescope is just a bunch of mirrors and lenses. Mm-hmm. No, that's a lie. There's actually a microchip. It's probably one of those Bill Gates tracking microchips. And then NASA feeds the telescope the information they want you to see. Oh. Yeah.
That's good.
Now, how they explain these observations that were made long before NASA was created, I don't know. But, I forgot. NASA is actually the Jesuits. And as we all know, the Jesuits weren't actually founded when we think they were. They were actually founded sometime in like the 6th century or something.
Oh, okay.
Right, yeah, you got to remember that the Jesuits are actually like one of the oldest institutions in the entire world.
Hey, Dapper. I'm assuming, as a good former nuke, you know the Rickover and Protestant babies story?
I'm not sure I remember it, at least not by that name.
Can I tell the story? Because it's Rickover responding to what he viewed as raw mat level logic coming from US senators.
Sure.
Okay, cool. So the story goes that they were talking about building shielding for reactors, right? And I think the problem was like the appropriations committee, right, to buy the materials to build this nuclear submarines under our Lord and Savior Admiral Hyman Rickover.
Blessed be his name.
Blessed be his name. Yes, was too expensive, right? And so they're saying like, well, we have all this gold out in Fort Knox, right? Could we use that, right? We've got a bunch of gold laying around, and that's expensive. Could we use that for the shielding? And Rickover famously replied, well, we've got a lot of Protestant babies laying around too. Why don't we try that?
I mean, he's not wrong. We do have a lot of those too. And
we do have a lot of those too. They'd be about as effective.
They're mostly water, and water has a decent 10 thickness for many kinds of radiation.
Yeah, they actually probably would be more effective than gold.
I mean, I don't know. They certainly wouldn't be ineffective overall if we had enough of them.
Yeah. So that's what I feel like is the level of discourse this argument deserves, is the Rickover Protestant babies.
Yeah, we have a few super chats. Petite Flower 5259 says, wait, now I get it. Matt watched Firestarter and thinks water can neutralize all heat. That is the level that he's operating on, so yeah, that might be it.
Yeah.
Olivia Williams, who's been a member for 39 months and is at the Tetrapod level, says, they are Assassin's Creed Templars. Yeah, the Jesuits. Yeah, that's what the actual story is. Turns out, Assassin's Creed, actually all real, and the Templars just turned into the Jesuits. They definitely didn't get disbanded by a king who accused them of heresy because he owed them money that he couldn't afford to pay them back. That definitely isn't what happened.
No, money's never been involved in politics or religion.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the Templars actually were worshipping Baphomet for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although, to be fair, that did create the backstory for Trench Crusade, which, if you haven't looked into the lore for Trench Crusade, and if you like grimdark, because it's pretty grimdark, if you like that, then check out the lore for Trench Crusade. It's awesome. And also, Mike Francina is doing like a lot of the art for that, and it's amazing art. If, again, you like grimdark, I'm giving you a very strong warning for this, because if you don't like grimdark stuff, then you definitely don't want to check out Trench Crusade. Trust me.
Yeah.
Just skip it. Lieutenant Math Navigator for $5 says, conduction and convection are atheist propaganda, apparently.
Yeah,
well, except
apparently.
that Matt is depending on conduction for his water cools off the planet thing.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't even know. Lieutenant Math Navigator for another $5 says, I mean, Rickover's pet project NR1 literally just used water as radiation shielding, at least the stern. I mean, water is pretty good radiation shielding.
Water's really good at it, especially neutron shielding.
I mean, if money is no object and mass is no object, then yeah, there are better options. But like, for the money and for the mass, water is a pretty good option for a lot of different kinds of radiation.
Yeah.
Wow.
The severity and elevation of this stage of the flood is why the...
Which stage, Matt?
Yeah.
Maybe Matt just needs a remedial English class to teach him what, like, antecedents for pronouns are and how to make sure that you don't have terribly ambiguous antecedents.
Okay. So, proportion of fossil occurrences, geologic layers, terrestrial versus aquatic. Okay. Got it. I understand what I'm looking at. How is this related to what he's saying? Let's try.
He's going with the elevation thing, right? So lower elevation means there's going to be more aquatic life because you're closer to the ocean, right?
Oh, okay.
So it is the case that we would expect to see this kind of like increase in terrestriality if his idea was correct. But the problem is that we would also expect to see the rate of aquatic organisms dropping off precipitously if we're going, assuming elevation-based flooding preservation. So, for instance, when he says, like, we'll go with the Cretaceous, right? Because that's... basically where a lot of them think the boundary between the flood and after the flood is, right? The Cretaceous, in the same layers it has, like, dinosaurs and whatnot, has things like lobsters and clams and sharks. So, my go-to there is to just ask, like, are these alpine sharks? Are these the sharks of the mountains? Are these lobsters that live high in the Himalayas? Like, what's happening? How do these lobsters get into these high elevation deposits? And there's not really a great answer, except if you want to say, well, the tsunami carried them up there. Well, then that creates the problem of...
Then you wouldn't expect to see any differentiation.
Exactly. So we get into that problem. So, yeah, that's the problem with this entire idea, is that once you realize that aquatic fossils are all throughout the stratigraphic column, you stop really being able to say, and not just aquatic, I mean like marine, all throughout, right? Because if you found like lacustrine, like lake animals or something, okay, sure, whatever,
right, fine. I'm not going to worry about that.
But
we're
like
marine and like deep marine,
right? Ocean-going, bottom-dwelling organisms are ubiquitous throughout the stratigraphic column, which is a problem for this elevation-based idea.
Yeah.
And plants start showing up in the fossil record, laid down by the Absorica megasequence. Entire ecosystems are buried in enormous deposits that later turn into coal, such as the extensive Appalachian coal beds. In fact, the U.S.
Let's talk about that.
Okay.
Because, hey, no, it doesn't work for coal, but it does work for oil. Hey, Depper, why do we have oil?
Well, we have oil because, there's a number of reasons, but the biggest one is because during the Carboniferous, if you're not in North America, or the Pennsylvanian and the Mississippian, if you are in North America, because North America has to be special. Yeah. There were extensive wetland forests made of mostly things like lycopod trees, which aren't closely related to any modern tree species, but also significantly, there didn't seem to be any decomposers that had the enzymes to break down lignin, which meant that this plant matter built up extensively in bogs. And it turns out that basically what a peat bog is a place where the rate of decay is slower than the rate of the deposition of the organic material. And so it just kind of stays there. And over time, heat and pressure will first turn it into low-grade coal, then high-grade coal, and then eventually, as those liquids get squeezed out, they will form petroleum deposits.
Yeah. But importantly, some of those, but you need to not have the ability to decompose the specific thing you said. That's why I asked you to explain it, because I never remember the specific words.
We do have smaller coal beds from later, where there were lignin decomposers, but again, we still are in a situation where we're basically forming a peat bog, where the rate of decay is just significantly slower than the rate of the deposition of the organic material. It's easier to get peat bogs in the Carboniferous because of the lack of lignin decomposers. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
which none of which is explained in the flood.
Is that unless we're going to claim somehow that the ability to decompose lignin, right, evolved post-flood.
Well, see, his answer is going to be that, the reason that the deposition happened so fast is because it all happened in, a day.
Oh, that's dumb.
Yeah, but so we have problems with that, too, in that...
Yeah.
So we know how long it takes to form various grades of coal and oil, and it's too long. And then creationists will come back and say, but in some lab in Russia, they managed to get petroleum out of plant matter in 3 months. And the answer to that is yes, under conditions that are far more extreme than any that we've found naturally occurring on Earth. It's kind of the same thing with you can grow a diamond in the lab in 5 days. Yeah, but the conditions that you need to do that with super pure carbon and these extreme temperatures and pressure that aren't actually normally found underground.
Yeah.
So we don't have a way for Earth to do that naturally without humans. So creationists have a really weird relationship with laboratory experiments.
Yeah.
On the one hand, if they think a laboratory experiment happening in the real world would be beneficial, then they will assume that no matter what crazy conditions happen in that lab that are not normally found on Earth, that just means that it can happen naturally. On the other hand, if it doesn't really support their ideas, like, say, the hypothetical creation of synthetic life, then they'll be like, well, that just proves it takes intelligence, because an intelligent agent had to set up that laboratory. Okay, cool. So you're just going to reject laboratory work in basically both ways.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's fun. Let's see. I did read that most recent one. And do remember, we are still trying to get that Kip Davis Mudkip emoji for when Kip is on.
Yeah.
And we do actually already have a video lined up for Saturday, and it's a new video. We're done with Billy Carson for now. Now we're on to Brian Thomas, who's going to tell us all of the really stupid reasons that he has for why you can trust the Bible, whatever that means, which in his case means believe that every single word of it is historically accurate. Which, it's not.
Yeah, it's not.
Has over 7 trillion tons of coal reserves.
Hey, there's big number, therefore God, if you're playing.
Big number.
Yeah.
Cool. Coal exists. Great. Love that.
It would be great if we got the legend on this, Matt, so that we know what the different colors mean.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
But where did it come from? While we know that dead plant material being sandwiched between sediments is the cause, we know that we don't have enough vegetation on the Earth to produce that much.
Yeah. In fact, actually, Matt, we would need several Earths over to produce the amount of coal that's on Earth. Like many, many times over. Oh,
sorry, I perked up. I'm like, good, Matt. Good.
Yeah,
follow this thought.
Which means it couldn't all have existed during 1 year. Costa Apostate has gifted a membership, so thank you very much. We'll take a drink.
Cheers.
I'm not sure that drink counter incremented. Oh, no, it did. Okay, never mind.
This proves that the pre-flood world was mostly covered by lush vegetation.
No! No!
Take a drink.
No!
No, Matt, it proves that the flood didn't happen, is what it does.
Mm-hmm.
Because you would need several Earths with no ocean and all just forests to produce this much coal. Unless you think that the flood was keeping several Earths in its back pocket that it could just pull out and also flood and then shove all that flooded plant matter onto the Earth, the regular Earth. That doesn't work, Matt.
What if tree, but then another tree?
So just trees on trees on trees?
Trees on trees. Three trees deep. Tree on tree on tree.
I don't think that would be enough, given the landmass of the Earth. But, like, it's a start. Of course, you would wonder how any of the trees, except for the top one, was getting any sunlight, which is also a bit of a problem. But also, I want to point out that there is enough biogenic limestone on Earth to also cover the Earth in several meters thick of just solid algae.
I forgot that. We also need that to be happening at the same time.
Also, we have enough fossilized cephalopod shells just in one small part of North America that if they were all alive at the same time, we would also have a several meter thick level of just a bunch of solid calamari that we also need to fit on the Earth.
Tree, algae,
right?
Calamari,
and more trees,
and then tree. Yeah.
This is
in a layer cake.
Layer like a parfait.
Yeah, in a parfait. Okay. Yeah,
that sounds less like a paradise pre-flood Earth and more like a horrific hellscape out of like the imagination of Dante Alighieri.
Yeah, it does. That sounds bad.
Yeah. Cinemath the Navigator for $5 says, it's trees all the way up, and hey, we're only 6 Teal Super Chats away from the goal where we get to reveal some upcoming TTRPG stuff from 2 of your favorite internet TTRPG people who aren't Matt Mercer and friends.
Yeah.
I'm just assuming that that's the case for both of us, is that we're your second favorite group of TTRPG people.
Yeah. Clearly.
Yeah.
And the rising floodwaters and tsunamis were necessary to sweep over the lands and cover this vegetation to form the coal that we now see in this world today. Noah's flood is the only explanation.
Okay. I have a serious question. How much math do you... Yeah, okay, that's fair. How much math do you think Matt did to just sanity check any single idea here? And in case anyone was wondering, a sanity check math is where you basically just do... You make a lot
of... Back of the napkin, order of magnitude.
Make a lot of simplifying...
Pi squared, call it 10.
Right, exactly. A lot of simplifying assumptions, big round numbers that are reasonable, right? And then you just check and you see, okay, is the answer I got something that even makes sense? Like, do the units check out? Is the level of the order of magnitude something that's comprehensible to me in this situation? That's what a math sanity check is. Because if you fail that, then it's back to the drawing board. I don't care how many extra things you add into that. Like you're orders of magnitude off, so you're barking up the wrong tree. One of my friends did this when he was trying to figure out like something like he was trying to figure out like how much cooling Iron Man's suit would need or something, right? And I'm like, hey, how'd you get that number? He tells me, and I'm like, dude, that's not even like in the right units. And he's like, wait, what? So we had to go back to the drawing board and start back over with the sanity check. How many sanity checks do you think Matt ran on any of this?
-3.
Yeah, basically. I don't think any positive integer is the right answer.
Yeah.
Let's see. Lieutenant Math Navigator says, I think Matt can only count to 4 with both hands. You sure it's not just 2, one hand, the second hand?
Yeah.
Metapiki Platypus Librarian for $5 says, fiber optic trees in parallel dimensional Earths with quasi-thermal conduction across quantum-based calamari lattices. More Bosch than Dante IMO. You know what? That was enough word salad that I think it might work on Star Trek.
Oh, it's so crazy. It just might work. I'm so happy I finally got to pull one of those out. I was real excited.
I'm so happy that's a stated game mechanic in Star Trek Adventures.
Yeah. Okay, Dapper, I have to go get another beer. Don't pause. I'm going to be back.
Okay. Evil Ginger Miniatures for £5 says, Matt has no idea what that is. None at all. No, I think that's the real answer, right? Is Matt just doesn't have a single clue that like a sanity check is the kind of thing you do in science, right? Where you just check like, is there anything to this? And sanity checks aren't always mathematical. Sometimes they're like, you do like an experimental technique, right? So like if you're in like a cell culture laboratory and you're like, I wonder if I could test this cell culture with this growth medium under these temperature conditions or whatever, right? So you just grab a couple petri dishes and you just do it real quick, put it in the incubator and come back the next day and see what you got, right? You're not doing a rigorous experiment. You're just seeing like, can this technique likely work at all? And that can be a sanity check, right? So it's not always an equation, but in this case, it should mostly be physics equations like thermodynamics, like mass of the like biosphere of the Earth. Like, what could it possibly contain? What's the surface area of the Earth? What's the surface area of like the average plant? Things like that, right? Where you just check basic things. And no, he's never done any of that. Like, if I said to him, hey, Matt, how much surface area does the average plant make up? And how would that affect your ideas about pre-flood vegetation levels? I would get a blank stare, which is what Matt usually has on his face, right? He either has that or he has that weird grin that he gets when he thinks that he's being smart. Which he never actually is being smart, but he thinks he's being smart a lot.
Hey, in my autism assessment, one of the questions they asked me was I forget why they asked me this. It doesn't matter. They asked me what the circumference of the Earth was. And I sat there and I did an order of magnitude calculation, like, out loud, and got, I was close to, like, the first 3 digits, right?
Awesome.
I might have made my assessor drop her jaw a little bit.
And then they were like,
"Are you just..."
Yes, autism.
Yes, please enjoy your autism. And it's like,
I just send you the diagnosis now.
Yeah, no, because I was like, well, okay, let's see. It's about this many kilometers. The radius of the Earth is like, let's call it, it's about 6,000 kilometers. It's more than that, but that's close enough. And then, 2 pi r.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 pi, I was like, let's just call that 6. So like 36,000 kilometers. She's like, anyway.
Nice.
Yeah. So, anyway.
But how many windows are there in Manhattan?
Oh, goodness gracious. The other question that apparently they ask a lot of people is, what did 2 and 7 have in common? And the answer, Dapper, the answer is that they're numbers. And I'm just so mad by that.
I could come up with many other things that they have in common.
Yeah, I did too. And I never said that they were both numbers.
I feel like that would be way too obvious.
The first thing I said was, well, they're both prime, and they're both this.
They're both natural numbers, integers, real numbers.
Yeah. They're both part of the like the base 10, our 10 digits that we use.
Yeah.
I didn't say this, but a common answer is it's like, they look the same. Like they visually are almost inverted of each other.
See, I would only answer that if I were asked about the numerals. And if you just asked me 2 and 7, I would assume we're talking about the numbers and not the numerals, in which case the idea of like the graphical similarity would not even occur to me.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna hit play.
The fact that over a dozen states in the United States are filled with dinosaur fossils buried under heaps of...
Is that over a dozen? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Matt, what are you doing?
Matt, what you doing, buddy?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, I keep getting 11.
No, listen. And Matt, if what you're going to say is, well, all of the states I was referencing aren't on this image, then you need a different image.
Right? Maybe he's including the 3 Canadian provinces that we got right there along the border.
Yeah.
I like how the United States gets, like, state abbreviations, and then Canada's just like, no, it's just Canada. Don't worry about it.
Canada.
And Matt's Canadian, if I remember correctly. Like,
oh my gosh.
Get a better map. And one that actually supports the thing you're saying, right?
Yeah.
I feel like Matt just checks checks Google Images, and whatever kind of seems about right, he's just gonna go with that. And he doesn't cite anything, which is also always fun. Also, like, Arizona does have some dinosaurs. I would not call Arizona covered in dinosaurs. It actually has very few dinosaurs, because basically all of the Mesozoic strata in Arizona is, like, Triassic. I don't know if you know this about the Triassic, but it's not got a lot of dinosaurs overall. In fact, it has none for most of the period of the Triassic. Dinosaurs don't show up until towards the end of the Triassic. So, like, Arizona has a few, but not many. And actually, there's a place, Holbrook, Arizona, that's in that little shaded area. And they have a petrified forest that's out there, that some of it's on private land, so people can, like, own petrified wood. And, like, so fossils are kind of an industry there. And so Holbrook is just covered in statues of dinosaurs. But they're almost all Cretaceous dinosaurs from Montana. And not any of the dinosaurs that are found in Arizona at all, ever. And it's just like, aw, you guys. I like that you're making dinosaurs part of your identity. I just wish that you knew which dinosaurs to use. Thick Sea Star with 2 C's for 200 Argentinian pesos says, what's the circumference of the Earth? Well, if we consider the radius of the Earth, you can stop. I think that assessment is complete.
Basically.
Charybdis for $2 says, good job on the A+ on the TISM test. There you go.
Yeah, I got an A+.
Ashley loves Blahai, who's been a member for 5 months and is at the Tetrapod level, says, AIG are a bag of bad Jacksons. And we will take a drink to that because Bad Jackson is indeed a dick.
Yeah.
He's so damn smug for no reason.
His ministry is based, like, 45 minutes south of me.
Oh, no.
I know. It's a noble. Not even 45 minutes. I can get there. It's like the next town south, right? Which I understand. In Oklahoma, that could mean 10 minutes. That could mean 3 hours. We don't know. But yeah, but there's not, it's just an office space. I was going to go, but it's not a thing you can visit. It's just like their offices. I know.
Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says, sorry, a little cough there. This man is incapable of counting above, as noted, this man is incapable of counting above 4. True. And we are only one super chat away from a little bit of a preview, but we're also coming up on almost time to get out of here. So, like, can we do it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Also, you guys, thank you so much for all the positive affirmations on my, the TISM diagnosis.
This is a very supportive chat.
Yeah, apparently it was a surprise to no one but my mom. Like,
oh. I mean, when you told me, if you had asked me, like, before you got the diagnosis, hey, does Maddie have autism?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But when you said that you did, I wasn't surprised. I was like, okay, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, none of my IRL friends were surprised. They were like, yeah, Maddie, you told me your career goal was to sit in a corner and do math. I'm like, well...
Not even I have that as my career goal.
I mean, it's a good career goal.
Yeah. I was struggling today earlier to try to transfer the normal of a curve in Blender to the y-axis of a second curve and having a really tough time doing it in Blender, so I can make a nice little graphic showing how derivatives work. Not the normal, I'm sorry, the tangent of a curve, not the normal.
The tangent of a curve. Okay.
Yeah.
Not the normal, the tangent. Okay.
Yeah, because the tangent would give you the derivative of a curve.
Yes.
Yeah.
But and you wanted to project that into an XY space defined by the normal and tangent of a different curve?
So basically, I wanted to say, okay, this curve is going to be whatever it is across the x-axis, and the y-axis is going to deviate. And I want to take the tangent of that curve and set that to be the y-axis offset of a different curve of the same length on the x-axis.
Okay.
And so basically, I just wanted to transfer from one point on the curve down to the next curve. And for some reason, Blender was just like, no. And I was like, okay, thanks. That's helpful.
Oh.
Yeah, it was very annoying.
Also attest to the flood. In fact, geologists have found a temporarily exposed Dinosaur peninsula.
Okay. I'm gonna take a drink.
Okay.
Okay, first, Matt, I want you to notice how that does not line up at all with your previous graphic. Which then means, why did you bother with the previous graphic, Matt?
Yeah.
Second, I want to point out, this is bullshit. This isn't a real thing.
Yeah.
The Dinosaur Peninsula is itself interspersed with various amounts of marine fossils and marine deposits. Because what this actually is like an area in Western North America that was sometimes exposed and has remaining Mesozoic strata. That's it. That's what that is.
Cool.
In order to actually say it was a peninsula, you would need evidence of that beyond just, this is where we find the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
That's not enough. Dark Law, who's been a member for 36 months, is at the Tetrapod level, says, Godzilla AIG is a bag of toilet brushes with Mothra, we will take a drink. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
I don't think people want to know about the TTRPG thing, Maddie. We'll just have to keep it close to the chest then.
Yeah.
Where the dinosaurs made their last stand, now buried there along with...
Oh my gosh!
Their last stand, Maddie.
Their last stand. This is where the last of the dinosaurs all died all together at once on the same day.
But we're buried in very different rock layers with very, very, very different depositional environments.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's totally the thing that makes the most sense.
Sea life transported by the massive waves that they could not outrun.
Okay, so wait, they were transported to this Dinosaur Peninsula by the tsunamis? The tsunamis that went over the Rockies, which were actually growing in the Cretaceous? Like, what? You know what? I'm just going to take a drink, and we're not going to worry about it, and just acknowledge the fact that Lieutenant Matt the Navigator got us our final super chat for the goal.
Okay, thank God, because I was trying to send a super chat that just said, get me out of here, and I had to add a credit card.
Oh, you don't have a credit card on?
And I'm like, that's not next to me right now. I'm busy.
Let's see. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator says, that's where we find the terrestrial Tylosaurus. That's another good point. Yeah, that place is chock full of mosasaurs, a very, very aquatic organism. They're actually lizards, like real lizards, unlike dinosaurs, which aren't lizards at all. And they're the biggest lizards that we know of. And they're very closely related to snakes and monitor lizards. And whether or not they're more closely related to snakes or to monitor lizards kind of goes back and forth in right now. I believe right now the weight of the evidence is leaning towards snakes, but like it's still, you know.
Gotcha.
Metageeky Platypus Librarian for $5 says, for RPGs and because I rarely make Maddie's streams. Well, thank you very much for making this one.
Sure.
And then Science Side Up, who's been a member for 40 months, says, get me out of here with a Mothra and a Godzilla. So here's what we are going to do. First of all, we've been unleashed. So Maddie, if you want to drop an F-bomb, feel free.
Fuck.
Yeah, fuck Raw Matt and all this bullshit.
Yeah.
So Maddie, what new game that I don't think any of us have played, or you, me, or any of the people that you're interested in involving have played, are you working on for the upcoming months over on OK Roll, which should be linked in the description, by the way, so go subscribe.
Yeah. Okay. So, one, there's a game that's being released really soon that we filmed, and I'm like, it was one of the most cathartic at table experiences of my life. It's being released starting in September. We played a game of Big Gay Orcs, so that's being released soon.
I'm helpful with that.
You did all of that. You made the background, which is over there. You made the map, and it looks so good.
It was a lot of fun to make, and I'm very happy that it's going to be shown off.
Yeah, it's like behind my head the whole game.
Guys, in case you don't know, I'm not an infrequent source of maps for Maddie. Like every once in a while, she's like, "Hey, you're free for a commission?" And it's like, "Yeah, sure, Maddie, let's go."
Yeah. Here's some dollars and my vague ideas / something I sketched on a napkin. Make it pretty, and then you do that, and it's amazing. But there's another game I'm really excited about that you and I just started talking about doing, and I think Jordan's going to be in it too.
It's Jordan from Reason to Doubt, in case anyone's wondering. The man who says his channel isn't about the Shroud of Turin, but whose most recent video is also about the Shroud of Turin. So, you know.
Yeah. We're going to play a game it's called Lord Sworn, which is a GM-less game that is about a company of holy warriors who are trying to make their way home after the end of a war where the god that they follow has been killed.
Yeah, they've lost this war.
They've lost the war, their god is dead, and now they have to get home. They have to survive and get home. So it's going to be the three of us, and maybe I'm trying to convince one of my local veteran buddies. So it's all like military veterans playing this game. It seemed like something. Listen, I've been kind of like doing a lot of reflection and wrestling recently about like my feelings about my own time in the Navy, right? You know, I was a bit of an eager beaver to join up and serve and to do my part, right? And like I feel like that was like taken advantage of, you know. So like I've got some complex feelings I'm still working through, and I'm excited to do this.
Many other vets,
yeah, like many other vets, and so I'm excited for that meta aspect of it, for us to all play together. I'm really excited for that, and then I'm also really excited about, can I tell them about the game that I'm writing that we're going to play test on Top Hats Off one of these days?
Absolutely, you can.
Okay, so guys, I'm writing the dumbest, it's 2-page RPG, but it'll fit on one piece of paper, just front and back. It's called Scots and Cats, and to be read in your head as like Boots and Cats, but Scots and Cats and Scots and Cats. And it's all based because I read an Instagram post this one time. I'm going to pull it up on my phone and read it.
All the best TTRPGs are based on a random Instagram post.
All of the best. Okay, this is the post. This is what it reads. The population of Scotland is around 5.25 million, and there are 600 million cats in the world. So if every cat decided to invade Scotland, each Scot would have to fight off around 114 cats each. And I really don't think they could pull it off. Well,
Let's
Lawrence Ward, random screenshot from Instagram. I disagree, and I wrote a TTRPG to see if you could be Scottish enough to fight off 114 cats.
You need to put him in like the credits for like writing staff.
Oh, I do. That would be so funny. I need to see if he's still like active on socials. I have no idea how old this screenshot is. Right? It's like a crunchy meme at this point. But guys, team, chat, the best part is that there's a role chat gets to play too. Ooh. Chat also gets to yeet cat. And so I wrote alternate rules if you don't have a chat, if you're just playing with your friends at home. But chat, you all get to play as the village collectively. And you all have to work together to yeet as many cats as you can. So the way it works for y'all is that when like the GM indicates to you to say go, right? You all have to, by typing numbers in order in chat, count as high as you can without one person going twice in a row, and without double, like, if you type 2 3s, then you got to start over, right? And so for every time as high as you get, that's how many cats you yeet, right? And then we say, so to win the game, you have 114 cats times the number of players plus 114 times the number of villagers. And the number of villagers is like one. Is it a 1d6 times 100?
I don't know. This seems nearly impossible, though, I'll tell you that.
I know! I want to see how it goes!
Alright, so Thick Sea Star with 2 C's for 200 Argentinian pesos says, Uruguayans getting kangaroo invasion flashbacks. That would also be a fun one.
That would be super fun. It'll be the sequel.
Yeah. Say a similar rule set. Alright, so we are now getting to the point where it is probably time to talk about what we have coming up. So, Maddie, both Science Side Up and OK Roll are linked in the description. I double-checked.
Amazing, thank you.
I was not lying when I said it was in the description. Although I said it should be, which wasn't a lie anyway, because it should be, but it is. So what else do you have coming up on either of those channels?
Oh my gosh. I'm working on content for Science Side Up. It's just been slow because I had to put aside, like, I'm developing a couple courses that I want to go on Science Side Up. But these would be classes that I want to teach in an actual university setting. And instead of working on those courses this summer, I applied to jobs in university settings. So man, that channel's not dead, I promise. I'm trying to get back to it. But OK Roll. OK Roll, you'll have the next thing on there will be... Oh, actually, the next thing on there should be the release of the trailer for Big Gay Orcs. But that should be coming out in early September, like September 7th.
Okay.
And then over there, our typical schedule is we do every second Sunday in the evenings. Allison and I stream, and we're reviewing and playing indie games. And then we'll announce when our actual plays release from there. But if you guys want to see me playing games before that, come hang out, Top Hats Off on Friday. Lieutenant Commander Gloriana Dulas, now even more daring than before, will be on a mission for Star Trek.
She added 1 to her daring score and during character advancement stuff. That's what's going on here.
That's what I did. I shifted a point. So now my daring is an 8 instead of a 7, which is the actual minimum value it can be.
So the plan is Star Trek Adventures on Friday. Now, I do want to say, last time we were out because we had one person who was ill, although I do believe that person is feeling much better. We also had one person who had a family member who was rushed to the hospital. And so, as a result, we just didn't play. I am now being informed that one of the players was in the hospital yesterday with a concussion.
Ooh.
So,
Dapper, why are you beating up on all your players? Jeez.
None of my players are even within easy driving distance, and several of them are, across international boundaries, and 2 of them are across an ocean. I'm definitely not doing this. So... The player who was recently in the hospital is now telling me that they think that they will be fine and that there won't be any big problems for Friday, but is also giving me a heads up. So this next one is not the final episode of the season, but it is the next to last episode, and it starts up a 3-episode arc, which will extend across the season boundaries. So the plan is we're going to do this episode, then the season finale for season 1. Then we're going to take a break from Star Trek Adventures. We're going to do some stuff like Maddie can run Scots and Cats versus, but whatever.
Yeah.
Also, I believe
it's better if you do it as the Scots and Cats and Scots and Cats.
Zerolon is going to be running the second of the trilogy of cinematic mode Alien TTRPG stuff. That's the Alien franchise, like Alien, Aliens, Alien Cubed for some reason. So going to be running the second of the 3 of the officially published cinematic play scenarios for that. And so after all that, we will, make sure that everyone is good for a start time. Then we will have the conclusion to the 3-episode arc, starting with season 2. And we do have 4 planned seasons. So we have, I think, about 40 sessions left of Star Trek. Nice. And so if that at all interests you, if you're a Trekkie, if you just like me or Maddie or Jordan or FTFE or Chesh, or we also have some people who are not big on YouTube. You might not have seen on YouTube, but we have like Tiri Rana. Zerolon does in fact have his own channel. All our channels are linked in the description, so if you like what you see, you can go check those out.
Cozy Cat Games. That's
Zerolon. So so check that out. But on Thursday, I am going to have 2 shows. We're going to be doing the premiere at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, for Walter Veith Doesn't Understand Taxonomy. And in this, he makes a claim that is equivalent to stating that mammals are extinct. So Walter Veith is going to make a claim. I don't think he realizes that that's the claim he is making, but he certainly makes a claim that is logically equivalent to mammals are extinct, which is a wild thing to say. Because
that is a wild thing to say.
I am looking at a mammal on my TV screen, or my computer monitor, whatever this is.
That's me. I'm a mammal.
Yeah. It turns out you have things like hair and a jaw joint between like the mandible and the temporal bone instead of the articular and the squamate bone and or whatever. Yeah, and you had a baby recently. I'm pretty sure that you did some lactating things involved there. Yeah.
God, thanks for outing me, Dapper. Jeez.
I know. Yeah. Well, I say you had a baby recently. It was like years ago. Like.
Yeah. Kiddo's almost 3.
But yeah, you did the mammal thing.
I did the mammal thing.
The mammal part of the mammal thing. The part that mammals are named after, right? The mammary part. Yeah. So yeah, I don't think mammals are extinct. But then later on that day at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, myself, Dr. Dan Stern-Cardinal, and Chesh are going to be on for a live stream going over Sal's latest quote-unquote response to me. Which I have watched, and
how'd it go?
It's not great.
That was like a big choice. You used to just hang out and chill out and chat with us, and we could have played Scots and Cats together. And you had to be weird about it.
We got even weirder after all of that. So like, Sal's been just kind of getting weird.
Buddy, don't be weird.
He also still has no idea what was in my video that made me call John Sanford a liar. He still thinks it has something to do with genetic entropy, which it doesn't. It has nothing to do with that.
No.
But he's not going to watch this either, so who cares? That's 2 shows on Thursday. Then Friday, as we already talked about, Star Trek Adventures is going to be over on Top Hats Off. Then Saturday, we're going to be starting a new video with Brian Thomas of the Institute for Creation Research, who is going to tell us why we should believe in the Bible. And it's going to involve things like fake artifacts and just lies about what's in the Bible. So that's fun.
So fun.
Yeah, so that's the plan is for that to be Chesh and Kip Davis and I. So if any of that sounds fun, then please check that out. Also, once we get out of here, I'm going to be going over to my Discord where we are going to watch some of the last bits of Power Rangers ever made. We're going to start with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Once and Always, the roughly hour-long special for Netflix that was made, which returns a lot of the cast from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers across a few seasons, and is also a bit of a tribute to Toy Trang, who did tragically die very young in a car crash. And so it is a bit of a tribute to her. She was the original Yellow Ranger, in case you're unfamiliar, and she died not very long after she left the show. She was still, I think, in her mid-20s. And so it was a bit of it was very tragic. And so this is also a bit of a tribute to her. Unfortunately, Jason David Frank also died shortly before it aired, but after it was produced. So they couldn't do much about that. But they did give a little bit of a nod to that fact in the sort of end credit scene. So we're going to be watching that, and then we're going to be watching the first 2 episodes of Power Rangers Cosmic Fury, which is the final season of Power Rangers to date. And so, we only have, including today, we have 3 more times to watch Power Rangers, and then we're done. So come check that out if that's fun for you. If not, please stay safe out there. Have a great rest of your week. I hope I see all of you on Thursday. And, yeah, we're gonna get out of here. And also, ice must be abolished.
Yeah, abolish ice.
Hey, before you leave, I just want to take a second to thank my patrons and channel members, especially those pledging $20 or above. Ben Tobin, Tapioca Weasel, Arrow Dodger, Caleb Anderson, Dan Sheedy, Eleron Teller, Phil Cavara, Ian Chen, Kelvin Brostock Van Manen, Landon Knoll, Maddie Babdy, Sphincter of Doom, Volis, North Texas Fossils, and John Ackerman. It's because of my channel members and patrons whom you're seeing on screen that this channel can stay afloat. Without you, it would all shut down. If you want to join the team, there's a link to join the channel below this video, and there's a link to join the Patreon in the description. On the Patreon, you can get a 10% discount for pledging annually, and either way, you get early access to virtually all of my scripted videos, often 3 to 5 months before they come out for the general public. Thanks for watching.